What's going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with another Dark Dimension 3 video playthrough and guide. This is going to be a continuation video of my previous videos with respect to my progression. It's going to be on node 4 today, so I'm going to quickly rip through my characters I'm planning to use and you guys will see the gameplay here. So got Ebony Maw here providing protection. Additionally, he's got a great healing for our team and providing that overall survivability for our roster. So I got really super lucky with the 6 red, as you can see there. Next, I'm planning to bring on Hela here with her spreading of negative conditions. She's really going to be using Greg to soak damage, but really be able to kind of give us that support additional damage that we will need for these high damage targets. Next, we got Emma Frost cleansing the conditions on our team and ensuring there's a blind, and as well as being able to kind of take away the enemy's positive buff. So really great support character overall, and really great for healing in the synergy with Mr. Sinister here, who I am bringing on board to additionally pivot to the battle situation, create clones to really assist with us in the battle, and additionally being able to provide that heal and those conditions buffs for the fellow mutants of his roster. Last but not least, Minerva is going to be giving us that extra protection with healing, bypassing heal block as well. So very nice. So I'm bringing on her on board, and last but not least, for the revive. So that is the 5 characters I am planning to bring on board. So with that being said, let's dive right into the action right now. Now, I won't lie, you guys, this did take me a few tries here just to get the RNG factor right. It's going to be really, at the beginning, we're going to be focused on cloning as many Magnetos as we can to ensure that we have blinds available to protect our team, because you're going to notice with this node, you know, it's going to be very similar to node 3, where you just have a lot of characters kind of in the way here, and they can do a lot of damage when we're not careful. The biggest thing here is really just kind of ensuring that we have a great recipe for success, and by doing that, you can see right away my Hela does fall, but fortunately all my abilities are already up, so I did revive her back. And as you can see, there's that Magneto blind, and fortunately for us, we did actually resist that just due to how strong our characters are. But the big thing for Emma Frost here is I like bringing her on board because she can already use her basic attack to take away the positive conditions like a taunt. And then what I'm actually going to do is you want to actually use the clone ability to get Magneto in the beginning, because he, as you can see in that top left corner, he blinded all those enemies right now. So I mean, the best part about blinding is that, you know, it works really favorable for characters like our Hela, who can actually take advantage and now spread it. And following that, you guys, the really big thing is just really kind of maintaining control of the battle situation. So with that being said, you guys, I do recommend you checking out Dutch Rudder's guide. I'll put in the link in the description below to a spreadsheet where he does outline the key characters that we should be taking out in each wave, in addition to anticipating when these next waves drop as well, because you know, that's really what helped me kind of steer the ship as I was progressing. But first and foremost, you guys, one of the key characters we do want to take down is going to be Merc Lieutenant. So you'll see here that I'm going to focus on Merc Lieutenant first. And it's also really important to, because we have Magneto now on our team, you guys, whenever you see that a character is getting ready to taunt or has their turn, in this case it's going to be either Strife or the Shield Security, just make sure you're applying the disruption on them, so that way when they do have the disruption, they won't be able to taunt and take away our attention to detail, right? And one nice thing I do like about Emma Frost is her ultimate is the fact that when she uses on, as you just saw with the Merc Lieutenant attack, it does a significant amount of extra damage just due to the fact that we're using these Dark Dimension 3 characters and attacking the target that we want. So as you can see here, I am going to go ahead and just finish off Merc Lieutenant here, and taking him out does help a lot because he provides a lot of speed up for the enemy team here. And after taking out Lieutenant, you guys, it's really at this point, once again, I have to reiterate, focusing on who has the attacks. Personally, for me, I really wanted to take out Namor as one of the high targets for me on my list, because of the fact that Namor has a lot of damage. He has a lot of, and he has an unblockable attack as well. So taking him down along with Pyro, in my opinion, if you take down the high damage dealers, then, you know, there's a stronger likelihood that you can survive as you progress through these nodes. So I mean, to get a meaningful attempt on this, it's definitely what I recommend, but definitely Lieutenant needs to go first. Some can argue that Shuri would be a good target, but I like keeping her on board because later on we actually are gonna utilize Mr. Sinister to clone her, and leaving her at least here will give us that opportunity to do so. Now, fast forwarding here, just to save you guys a bit of time, I do actually take out Strife as the next target, just because he has that really annoying taunt. In addition, there are multiple Strifes in this node, so we do want to take him out earlier in the battle before the next wave. And because the next wave does drop at 40 out of 45 characters, we have to make these deaths meaningful. With that being said, so now both Lieutenant and Strife is down. Now I am going to go ahead and focus on the high damage dealing targets here. So in this case, you guys, you know, it's really going to be the luck of the draw in terms of who actually goes down in terms of the overall damage that you do. It could be Namor, it could be Pyro, it could be Killmonger. As you can see, Pyro is down, so that means I still can take down 2 more characters. In addition, I did get a second Magneto now, and what I've done here is I've ensured that they take turns on the blind. So if I see a bunch of enemies getting their turn meter up, you know, like for instance right now, Namor on the left, his turn's coming up, but he is blinded, in addition to Killmonger being blinded. So at this point, it's really kind of just managing the waves, right? Ensuring that all these negative conditions are sticking, and just making sure that we have those opportunities to apply that blind or be able to disrupt them from taunting. So I mean, it's really kind of working and managing the waves, you guys, and making sure that you guys are keeping a track essentially on when your abilities are refreshing with the energy. And once again, we've got Emma Frost here. You know, there's no positives here to debuffs and whatnot, but I do like the fact that I'm checking to see, you know, if they have blind, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually just basic attack there, because we can save her ultimate. But once again, Namor being quite significant combat power, he is actually the next character that I plan on taking down here. Taking him away at least takes away his ability to apply his ability where it's unblockable. So I mean, that's nice, because even if he does have that ability now, if we can take him out, then he won't be a problem for taking our allies down. And now officially with Namor down, that means we can take down officially 1 more character before the next wave drops here. And at this point, it's really up to your guys' call here. Some could argue Shuri, some could argue Killmonger. But as you can see here, I still have 2 Magnetos. I haven't cloned Shuri yet, so I do like to leave her on the board. And in my opinion, I do like to take out the damage dealers. I know some guides recommend taking down Mordo, but in my personal opinion, Mordo's heal block just isn't as prominent as before, because now we do have Emma Frost being able to cleanse. So I am going to go ahead and actually target Killmonger just to take away his damage away from potentially taking us down. And now, as you guys can see, with Killmonger down, we have 2 Magnetos right now. Additionally, once again, we're going to use our Magneto here. I've saved his ultimate for blinding, just trying to kind of assess the situation. But once again, you want to take a look at seeing who has a turn. Unfortunately, that was a beautiful, beautiful ultimate, because they actually captured a lot of them in that blank edition. And this is really what's ensured my survivability. And keep in mind, you guys, I still don't have Shuri on my side yet. So, I mean, I'm very, very excited. It's going to get to the stage where once I get Shuri, this team really does become quite unstoppable in terms of having that that ultimate blinding, the defense up, taking turns. So as you can see, that happens right there. And now with this new wave here, we are ready to go, you guys. So with that being said, once again, I'm going to refer to that Dutch rudder guide in terms of the targets to potentially take down. And in this case, it is actually going to be taking down any kind of enemy here that has high damage, because fortunately there is no lieutenant from the last wave. And there's going to be similar characters here. You can see Strife is here, Namor, as well as another Pyro, and a Killmonger. So very, very similar to the first wave, and that's why we have to keep a close eye on these guys. So using my Ebony Maw here, ultimate, it does unfortunately take down shield security, but that's quite okay because of the fact that, you know, we do want to take down at least 5 enemies before the next wave that spawns at 35. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room here. I'm going to go ahead and just finish off some of these weaker guys just to kind of clean up the garbage here. But you bet we are definitely going to be aiming for those high damage targets later on in this wave for sure. And there we go, taking down Mordo now next. That just seems to be my attack order that works for me, you guys. But once again, just taking a look at my clones here, you guys. 2 Magnetos and 1 Shuri is making this definitely short work right now. This is looking like a really, really good run. So, you know, 7 enemies down in the first attempt here. If you guys get to this stage, you're in a pretty good shape right now, because this is a very, very strong supportive team that we have. You know, 2 Magnetos to kind of interchange their blind. Emma Frost to apply her blind on any character that has their turn upcoming. But keep in mind, again, you guys, there are more Strifes left in this node. That seems to be the problem, where they keep giving each other energy. energy. So just keep that in mind going forward. That is why it's recommended to usually take down Strife in this wave, especially before the next wave spawns with another Strife. With that being said, not what I planned, but we did take down Magneto there in the Hela Ultimate Burst there. But as you can see, I am progressing towards finishing off this Strife here because, like I said, with 2 more enemies left we take down, the next wave is coming. So we do want to take him down as one of the guaranteed targets in this wave. With that being said, that does take down Strife, and now we can officially finish off one more, and that will leave us now with the next wave, which does have another Strife. So keep that in mind, you guys. Watch for these key signature benchmark areas where the waves do come. I personally did choose Namor just because of the fact that he does have the highest combat power of all these guys, as you can see, with 150k. And in addition to that, you know, just taking him out, it does unfortunately now spawn the next wave, as I mentioned before, 35 out of 45 with a brand new Namor, another Magneto, Killmonger, and as well, consistent with the previous nodes, you guys. The previous waves, another Strife that we have to deal with. So in this case, it's gonna be very, very similar. Fortunately with this one, we can take down another 5, which will bring us to the next wave as well. So as you guys can see, I got lucky there with the disruption. I am going to go ahead now and spread all these negatives here. That's why it's really beautiful to have Hela, because she just ensures that all those negative conditions stick. And unfortunately, we did max out our 10 characters now. So at this point, with the 2 Magnetos and Shuri, and Hela having 2 Gregs, doesn't really give us a lot of room to clone. So we do want to save that for now if the situation desires it. But for now, we're just going to resume out our game plan of attacking the key targets, which include Strife, Namor, Killmonger, just because they all have high damage and we do need to take them down before the waves build up. And the beautiful thing about having both Ebony Maw and Minerva on this team is that their ultimates do scale with the health percentage. As you can see, I did take out 2 targets now. So once again, keep a close eye on the enemies remaining, you guys. 3 more enemies, and then that does spawn the next wave here. So it is nice that these are very clean numbers for us to worry about. First it was 45, 40, and now 35, and the next wave is going to drop at 30. So keep that in mind. Unfortunately, our Shuri did fall, but that's why we also, a great target to clone here, as you guys can see, was that Hawkeye, because he can provide a blind and he provides a slow as well. And it's really nice for us just to be able to kind of get that extra support despite losing Shuri. And we did just finish off Hawkeye there. So fortunately with him being in Hero Controller, it does actually give us an immunity. So keep that in mind. You guys can definitely take advantage of that to kind of time those immunities with Ebony Maw having that barrier for us whenever Hero Controller does fall. Very, very nice. Now with the Hela Ultimate here, just finishing off Strife, it does bring us down now to the enemies remaining at 30 out of 45, spawning once again another wave here. So keep that in mind, you guys. Remember, always being able to kind of prepare for these waves that are coming. That's really how you do manage and make meaningful attempts in Dark Dimension 3. That's really what worked for me. And once again, having 2 Magnetos and a Hawkeye clone on my team has definitely been very, very favorable. Now, keep this in mind as well. The next wave does spawn at 27. So, unfortunately, we can only take down 3 targets here. As you saw, we just took down 1 more. So, I mean, at this point, only 2 more left, and that does spawn the next wave. So, once again, anticipating that is really, really key. Consistent with the first wave, I do want to take down the Merc Lieutenant there, just because he's really good for speed up, and you just don't want to be giving the enemy more turns than they need. With that being said, now you guys keep in mind 28 in the left here, so that means we can only take down 1 more, and in my opinion, that's going to be one of the 2 Namors, just because of the fact that Namor, as you can see in these nodes, he's very, very powerful, and just getting him out of the way does help us with our overall survivability. So going ahead now then, and just finishing off that Namor there at 27 out of 45. Keep in mind, this does spawn now once again another wave here. It's just a little slow and lagging for this coming up, but it's going to be another Hawkeye and 2 more shield securities. So just keep that in mind here going forward. Fortunately, we still have 1 Magneto. Unfortunately, one of our Magnetos did fall, but I'm going to hope to actually clone another one if we can here, and that's the game plan there. But once again, you guys, keep in mind Namor as well as Killmonger, they do the most damage, right? So we just have to be very, very mindful of that. That's going to be really the key. And also keep in mind, following the guide here, you guys, the next wave does spawn at 24, so we can officially take down at least 3 of them before the next wave. So in my opinion, I would focus on the higher damage targets once again, consistent with the previous waves. It's going to be Pyro, it's going to be Namor, it's going to be Killmonger. But obviously, unfortunately, if you guys can't get that, it's quite all right, just because, you know, everyone's health pool might be different at this point once you get this deep into the node, right? So I do take down both Killmonger as well as Pyro, and as you can see here, Namor, unfortunately, is still alive. But with that being said, we should be able to take down at least one more, and hopefully it's going to be Namor here. You can also see here that I only do have one more Magneto now, because one of them did actually fall. So my game plan here is actually going to be to clone another Magneto. But really, the Magnetos do hold this team together if you guys can. So having Mr. Sinister on this team is really, really key. Just being able to have a really meaningful tab. So I do that there and try to utilize, once again, his blind is just very, very meaningful for us to ensure that we have that survivability. Now, it wasn't my intention to accidentally take down that Magneto, but it does actually spawn the next wave. Fortunately, the Namor is quite low, so we go ahead and use Minerva's ultimate there just to finish him off. And as you can see in this wave here, fortunately, we could still take down another 3 targets before the benchmark of 20 being reached, and that will also spawn, once again, the next wave. You're going to see in this wave that, once again, we have to face up against Strife, you know, the Hawkeye from previous. There's actually 2 Strifes right now in this wave, so that is a little dangerous because they can actually give each other energy, and that's why it's so dangerous to have them build up. But fortunately, we've been able to manage all the Strifes from previous waves, right? So that's why I gotta definitely prioritize here, you guys. You know, just make sure you are taking down the Strifes, because the moment they start building up, I feel like that's where a lot of players will start going downhill. So keep that in mind. Fortunately, we can still take down 3 more, so we are going to focus those Strifes before the next wave drops. Not who I wanted, but unfortunately it did take down at least Kingpin there. But we are going to continue attacking both the Strifes here. And unfortunately, you guys are going to notice that, you know, at this point now, I did lose my Hawkeye, and I did unfortunately lose one of my Magnetos. So I do only have 1 left, just because these waves are quite brutal in terms of the overall damage. And the Strifes, like I said, can do a lot of damage if we're not careful. So make sure you guys are ensuring those disruptions are on them and spreading those negatives, making sure all the enemies are blinded when they can be, because that's really, really key. Just managing the number of conditions on these enemies. And once again, using Emma Frost here for that extra damage. I do love that little burst she does have. And now with one of the Strifes down, we'll go ahead now and finish the other one. And again, this is where I would take a chance to kind of survey the environment, see whether or not we do need an extra blind here. No need if they're already kind of impacted like that, and we can save it. And I did clone another Magneto, as you can see. So we're back to having 2 once again, which is very, very beautiful. Like I said, if you guys have a couple Magnetos rocking in this node, I feel like that's going to be a deal breaker, especially when they can just add that extra protection. And it's amazing when all the enemies are blinded, right? And the beautiful thing about the synergy with Mr. Sinister is when he uses his special, it also applies that defense up to all his mutant allies. So it just helps everybody on our team when we have more mutants, which is very, very favorable for us. And unfortunately here, you know, just because of the shield security being weaker, not who I wanted to take down initially, because I should have actually focused Strife. But as you can see, with taking down that shield security, he was getting a little pesky with his taunts. That does spawn the next wave here, as you can see. So I am going to go ahead now and resume my attack here. And loving Ebony Maw's ultimate here, which unfortunately does take down not who I intended, but, you know, we have to take advantage of the fact that, you know, his damage scales with the health. And as you can see there, it did actually take down 2 targets, which is very beneficial for us. And one of them was Hawkeye, so it granted us a barrier once again with that immunity. So at 18 targets left, you guys, you know, it looks like pretty smooth sailing at this point, right? With the 2 more characters down, it does spawn the next wave at 16. So fortunately, he goes down, and last but not least here, we are going to go ahead and finish off. Like, once again, I do opt to take down higher damage targets like Killmonger, Pyro, as well as Namor's. So that's why I go ahead and opted for that route. And as you can see here now, at the 16 out of 45 here, we are in a great position now with 2 Magnetos. Unfortunately, we lost our Shuri and our Hawkeye. It does unfortunately spawn the next wave here now, as you can see. And this is where it can get quite dangerous here as well, you guys. So keep that in mind here. But Once again, we got to follow our game plan here in terms of making sure that we try to attack them as much as we can. I'm going to go ahead now and actually once again clone another Hawkeye to provide that blind and slow for our team, and it's really beautiful here. The synergy of this team, definitely highly recommended. But once again, we're going to want to focus on anybody that does high damage, you guys, because this is a pretty dangerous cluster here, and this is why we have the Magnetos cloned, right? So he can just spread that huge blind and allow us that protection and buy some time to really build up our energy here. Yeah, and like as you guys can see how devastating Namor's damage is, so that's why it's really important if you can to take him down. But fortunately, we do have two amazing healers on our team. So now with 15 out of 45 characters left, you guys, we're looking like we're in great shape. Once again, I'm going to just resume hitting these high damage targets here. Beautiful. As you can see, Namor is almost down now, and Hela does finish off, unfortunately, Hawkeye, but that grants us the beautiful immunity. So once again, we got Mr. Sinister's ultimate here, so you bet we're going to go ahead and utilize him. Honestly, if you don't have Magneto, Mortal's great too, because he can provide a blind, he can provide a heal block, so he's a great secondary choice when you don't have Magneto. Just keep that in mind. Here we go, and we're just going to go ahead now and finish off Namor. Beautiful. So looking really good here for this first attack strike here, you guys. So very pleased right now. I'm glad I was able to finally capture this one. Unfortunately, didn't have my Node 3 footage, but at least you can now really see where the synergy comes from this roster. Very amazing team synergy, just being able to kind of have that great balance of damage and support, as well as excellent healing for this roster. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead now and finish off Pyro here. And that does actually spawn another wave here now, so keep that in mind. It's another Magneto, Killmonger, Pyro, Lieutenant. So very consistent with the previous waves we've seen, but again, it's about the management of the waves, you guys. So keep that in mind. We're gonna follow a very strategic approach to this, methodical, very consistent with the beginning, right? We're gonna go ahead and take down Lieutenant first because he's squishy, he provides speed up to his team, and taking him down at least will give us an advantage in ensuring they don't get more turns than us. And once again, the Minerva ultimate here does take down 2 targets for us, which is beautiful. But as I stressed earlier, you guys, we do want to kind of focus on Lieutenant, Killmonger, and Pyro, just because they do more damage out of this bunch, and it's really important to keep them at bay. Now, I want to show you guys too, this is not actually a one-shot attempt, but I want to show you guys here that, very quickly things can go wrong. I messed up my ultimate there, as you just saw, and this is where it actually does start going south for me, because my attack order is good, but unfortunately, I think I just got too tired of going through the nodes here, but you can see it can go wrong really quickly if we're not under control here. So we're going to go ahead and resume as if everything's going all right. But what's going to happen here is they're actually going to inflict some insane amount of damage on us. So that's why it's really important to actually keep your guys under control here. So as you can see, Pyro actually just whooped out 2-3 characters of our team already, and we did revive Ebony Maw here, which is great, but already kind of our team is already battered up, and it's looking like they're going to be ready for some turns here for some significant damage. So unfortunately, not a one-shot attempt, but nor was I planning to. I was trying to make a really meaningful first attempt here, but as you can see here, they're actually going to go ahead and actually finish us off here, unfortunately. But we will be ready for the next attempt. But at least you guys can see now overall how the attack strategy started from the beginning, right? And sometimes you just lose the momentum, and that's quite all right. So as you guys can see here, only 3 of my guys left, 2 now. And I just wanted to capture this because you can see how easily everything can go wrong despite everything looking really healthy. So at this point, I knew what was going down. I didn't use Ebony Maw's abilities because I wanted to save it for the next day. But as you guys can see, a very solid first run regardless for an attempt here. But just keep in mind, this is why it's so important to be on guard, because everything can look like it's going right, but unfortunately, that was it went south for us. We could have probably one-shotted it, but we just weren't on top of our game and paying attention to the little clues of missing our ultimate and whatnot. So that's a 64 million first attack. With that being said, now let's dive into the remainder of this. So as you guys can see here, same team here. We're going to go ahead now, and we are ready. And keep in mind too, you guys, if you know that you got some extra characters lying around, you can just throw them in there to kind of take some hits before you do a real attempt. So that's kind of what I learned. I didn't really know about that concept, but if you guys have, you know, an extra character, for me it was like Thanos, so I could easily just throw Thanos in there to take some hits before I actually attempt. But once again, now we are going to resume where we left off here with those 10 out of 45 enemies left here, and now we know that we got to be on top of our game, paying attention to the little details here. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead now and finish off the characters that are weaker here. As I said earlier, Lieutenant goes down first, and the beautiful thing is, you know, there's not many characters left. There's only 7 left here. Excuse me, yeah, there's 6 left here, which means there's 3 more that's left to spawn, right? So just keep that in mind. Following the same strategy, you bet we're going to copy Magneto once again to utilize his blind. And once again, we're going to resume our strategy from before, taking down the high damage targets first. And beautiful. Now that we have taken down Kingpin here, once again, we're going to resume just attacking whoever's weak. In this case, you know, Strife is lower, so we are going to go ahead and finish him off. Ideally, I would have liked to take down Namor, Pyro, as well as Killmonger, but because Strife is actually weak, we have to take advantage of that. So keep that in mind, you guys. There we go. And once again, loving Emma Frost's extra damage burst just because of the fact that she utilizes her enemies. It's beautiful, beautiful mind control. Only her and Loki can do it in the game. So I love the fact that they can actually add that extra burst of damage here, especially them being end game characters here. So because they're weak, you bet we're going to utilize Minerva here, finishing off once again another character. And with that being said, you guys, you see that does spawn actually the last wave now. We're going to finish off Killmonger here, and we are now looking like we're in great shape to finish off the rest of this node. There we go, and that does finish off another one there, and as well as Namor being next here, being quite weak. But once again, at this point, you guys, keep in mind too, when you're down to 2, 3, 4 enemies left in the last wave, you do want to save your abilities because you know, you're going to be utilizing some of these characters for the next run, and you want to make sure their ability energy is ready to go, just due to the fact that some of them are going to be utilized here for the global. Personally, in this last wave here, because we do have Ebony Maw and Hela and Minerva, they're not going to be utilized because of the fact that it is going to be global. So you can go ahead and use their abilities. But as for the global characters such as Emma Frost, as well as Mr. Sinister, this is where I would kind of just reserve and wait for them to build their energy up, because we want them to be ready for the next node when we attempt that. And with that being said as well, at this point, I wouldn't be worried if you guys were down to the last 5-6 enemies, just due to the fact that generally this is a pretty good even playing field. As you guys can see here, it's pretty smooth sailing. Once again, getting that immunity, which is very nice for taking him down. And once again, you guys, you know, solid attempt here, but you know, it's all about wave management. Key points is really kind of ensuring you guys have a really good idea of when those waves are dropping, making sure the Magnetos, if you can clone him with Mr. Sinister, really key to ensuring that survivability. Even better if you have a character that provides consistent defense up, right? So Ebony Maw was definitely that character for me, and as well as having a character such as Minerva being able to provide that revive. And I love the synergy of this team, because we have a good amount of damage, we have a good cleansing, we can take away buffs as well. So overall, really well-rounded team. I'm glad this was able to be showcased here for you guys, so you can see how this can be possible even without a very sizable character such as Phoenix. So very, very good to see here, you guys. And with that being said here, this does conclude my walkthrough and playthrough of the Node 4 for Dark Dimension 3. Once again, this is my first attempt going through Dark Dimension 3, but I'm glad I've been able to make some meaningful videos here to hopefully help you free-to-play players out there like myself. You know, it's been great. Honestly, the biggest thing about being a player that comes in later to the game is because of the fact that we get so much information and knowledge from just being able to watch other content creators, other players that have been successful. So that's really what I attribute my success to, just due to the fact that we've seen so much success from other strategies and other players. So as you guys can see there, that's mission 4 there. So definitely, I've only been doing Dark Dimension for a few days now in the recording of this video. I did do a little bit later just due to the fact that there's always a time lag between you recording and editing. But here, let me go ahead now and show you the achievements here. I started Dark Dimension 3 actually 380 days out of 390. So as you can see, 3 days in, I was actually able to already unlock Node 4. So just a heads up, definitely possible. Don't need to spend money in the game if you just have strong synergy, strong characters. A little bit of RNG doesn't hurt either, but that definitely took me a few attempts for sure. So as always, appreciate you guys checking out my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.